tell me where to stand. You can't bring me to my knees again. Jesus freed me from the chains that bind. You can't change me. This is not your life. Whoa, whoa, whoa. You can't tell me which way to go. You can't tell me I'm not my own. Jesus freed me from the tyrant's hand. Whoa, whoa, you can take your best shot. This world is not my home. You can take everything I have. You can take my soul. You can take your best shot. This world is not my home. You can take everything I have. You can take my soul.
Oh, what's going on? What's going on? It's the Tamale Mafia podcast, a place where everything and nothing collide. And that, my friends, was a extended version of our intro track, written by me, your host, Aaron. Oh, back in the day when I had a band, had a rock band, and I was writing music and got a little contract recording deal, went up to Nashville, recorded some tracks with some cool dudes, did all that stuff. Traveled around, had a lot of fun, drank a lot of alcohol, had a lot of laughs, good times. But yeah, that's one of the tracks that came out of Nashville when I got my little recording deal and went up there and did that little album back in the day. When was that? That was like 2009, I think. But yeah, so that song was called Redemption, and I wrote it as kind of a throwing the finger at my ex. You can't break me. You can't tell me what to do, kind of thing. So, man, everybody needs you need that outlet. You need that one thing. If you go through a divorce or a nasty breakup, you need that the ability to just put something out there in the ether that's like screw you. But anyway, what's going on, peoples? Let's do this. Let me see here. Let's do this. Oh, there we go. Drop it. Oh, yeah. What's up, guys? What's going down? Hey, check this out, man. You can find the podcast. I mean, I don't know if you're listening to this. I don't know why I got to say this because you're listening to the podcast. Obviously, you knew where to find it. You figured it out. But I've been told that this is how you have to do these things. So I'm supposed to tell you that if you're not listening to this, you can find this podcast on Spotify, iTunes, Podcast Addict, Overcast, SoundCloud, our host site, shows.pippa.io/Tamale Mafia. You can catch us on Facebook at facebook.com/Tamale Mafia. And as of today, got kicked off a brand new YouTube channel. So yeah, for now, the episodes will be shot over to the YouTube channel, and you'll be able to catch the audio there. And then coming soon, my friends, coming soon. I'm telling you, we're going to be doing some video. All right, so you'll be able to watch me. And I don't know. I don't get it. I don't know why people want to watch a dude talking to a microphone. But it's all over YouTube, and it's like the thing to do. So trying to set up my little studio here in the loft, kind of clean it up a little so it's a little more visually appealing. But I mean, it's not too bad. I'm getting there already. But yeah, so trying to get the studio finished up, set up, and then I don't know, man. I'm not pretty to look at, so I don't know why people would want to look at me talking into a microphone, but I guess you do. So I'll do it. I'll put it out there, and then so that's cool. That's what we got going on. So anyway, if you don't know how to find this podcast, tell me, how the fuck are you listening to it right now? I just want to know. Because I don't get it. I don't understand. Anyway, moving ahead. Just kind of blowing through this one. Yo, it's Thursday. It's Thursday, man. And that means we're here to talk about what's been going on. Monday's episode was a little more on the serious side, right? I rambled a little bit, but I kind of got a little deep. I'm going to try to stick to hopefully meaningful content or things like that on the Monday episodes, and Thursdays will be just straight goofy if I can pull it off. I don't know. I don't know that my goofiness is entertaining or not, but we'll see. We'll see. I mean, speaking of whether it's entertaining or not, people have been listening, man. I mean, we have the amount of downloads that are happening this week have jumped from last week. So we were like, I think in all of last week, I had about 20 downloads, right? This week, 20 per day. So that's been a nice jump, So hopefully obviously some of those have to be new listeners, because it's not the same 20 people downloading the same episodes every day. So there's got to be some new listeners out there. When I look at the analytics of where the downloads are coming from, the regions and states that people are listening from are increasing. So, I think I said Monday, we have a bit of an international show happening right now. So we've got the 4 downloads in Mexico and 1 in Canada and 1 in Iran, and I'm hoping the Iran person comes back. That would be cool. I hope everybody comes back. Last year I had listeners in Israel and Thailand and Australia and kind of all over the place, and I hope some of those people make their way back eventually and kind of realize that we're doing this again. But we've got quite a good little group of folks here in the United States that are starting to tune in. Right now, Dallas in the lead, Houston coming in the second, and then all over the place. So we got like Wisconsin, Minnesota, what state is this? Maybe that's Rhode Island, way up there. I don't know what state that is. It's a little bitty on the map, and I can't zoom it in. Um, Florida, Louisiana, Arkansas, California. So anyway, I don't know if you guys are interested in this information or not. I am. I like it. I'm intrigued by it. Um, oh, whoever's listening in Granbury has gone from a one listener to three. So thank you there, Granbury. San Antonio, you and your one listener, you got to step it up. Come on, San Antonio. Burleson with one listen. Come on, Burleson. I know you guys in Burleson can't stand me, so why not listen more, right? See what I'm up to, see what you can make fun of. I'm just kidding. Burleson's a great place. So there's our analytics recap. What else has been going on? Yesterday was, well, I don't know if where it is where you guys are, if it's a spring break where you guys are, but here in my part of Texas, where I'm at on the eastern seaboard of Texas, it's spring break. So I've been hanging with my son Dax. You know, he's been on the podcast, so I was hanging with him a little this week, and a couple of days ago we went down to a little place in Dallas that we like to hang out called Deep Ellum. If you haven't been there, you need to go. You need to plan a vacation trip. You need to go there, and you need to check out the cool, like trendy, not trendy, artsy, like unique type of shops and restaurants. There's so much amazing food to check out of all different kinds. This week we had some sushi down there at a little sushi bar, and it was delish. And let Dax pick out the sushi roll, and then we just went with it. He's a fisherman by trade, even though he's in the sixth grade. So he's very well versed on fish and the types of fish and what he's choosing. So he picked the roll, and we shared it, and it was phenom. It was awesome. So, yeah, Deep Ellum, we got to ride some scooters, those little electric scooters, and I was laughing because there was recently an episode of South Park that dealt with these scooters and the scooters taking over the town. The lineman, or I think they were Bird. What is that called? Bird something. Some cities have Lime, or some cities have both. I don't know, was it Bird? I think it's Bird. Let's see. Google. What's it called? Bird. Yeah, Bird. That's it. Bird. It's the black and white ones, and then the lime, of course, lime green and white, whatever. But it was fun. We raced each other and kind of ran around the streets and stuff, and that was a good time. And then that night, which was Tuesday night, we went out to another part, kind of closer to Fort Worth, and met with family there that I hadn't seen in a while, and had an awesome time. We got to hang out with my cousin Paul, who you guys probably know. I hope you know from the Just Breathe podcast. We really wanted to try to get sketch out some time to do something together. But it just didn't work out. Everybody was kind of in a time crunch and a rush, and we were just had enough time to grab dinner and everybody kind of have a good time laughing and catching up. And then I had to go about our ways because there was a massive storm moving in. And anyway, so we kind of had to scurry off back to our hiding places. But soon, hopefully soon, we'll be able to schedule that and get something on well, it's not on tape. What is it now? It's on memory card. That's what everything's recorded on now, is some kind of micro disc, micro something. Anyway, yeah. So we'll hopefully put something together with that because, as you guys know, I am a huge fan of his podcast, and I mean, he's a moderate fan of mine. I listen to every single thing that he puts out, and he listens to maybe one or two of mine, but that's okay. No, I'm kidding. He listens to everything we put out here, and he's been a super huge supporter. In fact, last year when I kind of started to back off of the podcast, I had not produced an episode in a while. He was one of the only I think the only person other than my son who was like, "Dad, what about the podcast?" Paul was like messaging me and saying, "Hey man, uh, I'm not gonna bug you too much, but I'm gonna call you out and say, hey, where's your podcast? Because it was it was something that you really enjoyed, and it was something I enjoyed listening to, and you said you were gonna stick with it. So what happened?" And we had a conversation about it, and he was a big influence and supporter and saying, "Hey man, get back on your podcast. I'm looking forward to hearing it." And so anyway, we are mutual fans of each other's work and each other in real life. So there's that. But where'd my music go? Hang on. Uh-huh. Oh yeah. Hey, did I tell you guys that we've got a YouTube channel now? Huh? Yeah. Did I tell you that you can get our podcast on Spotify and iTunes and Podcast Addict, Overcast, SoundCloud, and even at shows.pippa.io/Tamale Mafia? Did I tell you? And did I tell you that for more information about the Tamale Mafia podcast, you can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Tamale Mafia? Even though it says for more information, there ain't no information on there. You know why? Because I haven't put any information on there. All it has is the episode links. Oh man, I suck at social media. But guess what? Pretty soon we're gonna have a website. Oh yeah, Tamale Mafia will have its own website. That's coming soon, and hopefully that will be a container store for all of the different channels, and will contain links and all the kinds of stuff that you need to find this show that you're listening to but don't know how to find. Okay. Before we go any further, hang on here. I gotta find. Hang on here. I gotta find the Just Breathe. Hang on. I gotta go to Just Breathe because I want to play something for you guys. There's this. Oh my goodness. This latest episode that Paul put out is bananas. See if I can find it. I want to play it for you guys. Here. How do I? Oh, here. Why can't this be easy? Why do I gotta click, 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 click again, click one more time, 7 more times, click 185 different things, click again. Oh, Now it gets me to the site. There's got to be an easier way to do this, man. All right, hang on here. I wanted to, let's go to the best parts. Let's go to the best part.
Straining to listen to hear that familiar hello. And then I heard her speak. Hello? There was a short pause. Hello? Another pause. Hello? This time a little bit louder. Then I heard her place the phone back on the receiver. Her steps were growing closer as she was coming back towards the room. When she entered the doorway, again, the phone rang out. Now it's almost like a chilling bell. Something that happened all the time, every single day with that phone ringing had now taken on some type of ominous characteristic. Now I took full notice. She stopped, she turned around, and she started walking back towards the phone. I leaned a little bit closer this time. Hello! She almost yelled and demanded into the phone. Silence. I never know what time is like in these situations, but it felt like at least 5 minutes. No talking, no ringing. I didn't hear her hang the phone back up. Just silence. And the kind of silence that isn't quiet, but causes your ears almost to hear that high-pitch whistle sound. The next sound caused all the fear that I'd been thinking about and feeling to completely take over my body. My breathing came to almost a complete stop when finally my mom's voice spoke. Who is this? She screamed this out of dead silence in the house. In fact, her voice almost cracked, and it sounded like it was cracking from tears or from pain. My body instantly told me to stand up. I started walking towards the hall, still kind of slow, but I was walking that direction. Then I heard the phone smash hard against the wall where my mom had hung it up. I still can't see her. She's around the corner 2 rooms away, but now she's yelling, Paul, are you awake? He said he's going to kill us.
Oh, come on, man. Come on. That's what you're missing if you're missing out on the Just Breathe podcast. Dude, so he released this part 1. This is a true story from his life when he was 16 years old. And you got to go listen to it. But part 2 actually comes out today. So you got to go back, right? You got to go back, get caught up on part 1, and then hit that part 2, which comes out today, to see what the rest of happens to the rest of the story. I mean, somebody's freaking threatening to kill them, so he left us hanging, man. But yeah, it's a great podcast. So head on over there. It's you can get it on the Anchor app. The podcast is called Just Breathe. If you don't know how to spell breathe, it's BREATHE. Okay? Just Breathe. It's on the Anchor app, and then he's got a bunch of other platforms that you can listen to it too. He's also on Spotify. So if you go to Spotify, just search Just Breathe. Again, JUSTBREATHE. And then you can go in and follow him on Spotify, and you can actually download the episodes so that you can listen offline wherever and whenever you want to. Okay? You can do the same thing with the Tamale Mafia podcast on Spotify. Just go there to Spotify, search up Tamale Mafia. We're the only Tamale Mafia podcast. If you don't know how to spell tamale, it's TAMALE, Tamale. Mafia. MAFIA. Okay? Tamale Mafia on Spotify. Just Breathe, also on Spotify. Give us both follows, likes, and listens, okay? This is a thing I keep forgetting when I do my little, hey people, Do you know where to find this if you're totally lost and not listening to me right now? Um, and I keep forgetting to say, hey, dude, like it, give me a follow, give me a download, a share, give me a like, give me a comment. All of that stuff helps, okay? So uh if you want content to keep coming and you like what you're listening to, then you need to participate, okay? Be a part of it and like it, comment it, share it, whatever, because that kind of all that stuff helps, and it helps more people find it. It helps more people see it. The Facebook algorithms are horrific and cost money to manipulate. Okay, so um, every little thing that you do to help us helps get more content out. All right, all right. Where's my? Hang on. Boom. Oh man, so what's going on, peoples? What's going on in the news? Huh? What's going on in the news cycle? The last time last Thursday, I asked a very important question. And that question was, where the hell is Jussie? And then we found out like just a few days later where Jussie was. Is Jussie got nailed, man, with 16 felonies or something like that. I mean, I think the story is out of the news cycle again. I can't find it. Jussie. Yeah, no, actually, I can't find Jussie, so he got pushed quickly back out of the news cycle. That's how they do these things, man. These people are trying to protect each other. If that guy was a white dude wearing a MAGA hat, and he had said like some black Obama supporters had come and jumped him, uh, or some Mexicans, damn Mexicans. Um, I can say that because I'm brown. Anyway, if he had if it had been somebody like that, this would have been top news story still. Okay, but no, not Jussie. Let's get it out of the news. So anyway, Jussie's in trouble, which is good. He needs to be. You can't just do stuff like that, man. You can't just make up crap like that. And then could that be considered a hate crime in itself? What he did, like, um, saying that these white dudes, which they weren't white, uh, had jumped him and that they were wearing MAGA hats and all this stuff. I mean, couldn't that be considered a hate crime in itself or some kind of racist? I don't know. Is that what his? I gotta Google this because I gotta know what are his 16 felony counts for. Let's see. Mm, mm, nope. 16 felonies. Felonies. Each count. Okay, here we go. Oh, via Rolling Stone. Jesse Smollett. Oh, sorry, Jussie. It's easy to say Jesse. Definitely Jussie Smollett, indicted on 16 felony counts by the grand jury. Okay, what are the 16 counts? Each count of false report of offense is a class 4 felony. Okay. How many does he have? Let's go. Let's see here. It's not telling me. The 16 charges stem from each false claim that Smollett told police in 2 separate interviews. Okay, got it. So every time he lied, they hit him with a felony. Damn. That's for real. Okay, here we go. Number 1, false report of offense. Number 2, false report of offense. Number 3, false report of offense. Okay, and it just keeps on all the way to number 16, false report of offense. Wow. So every time he told a damn lie, they nailed him with a felony. That is awesome. I like it. I like it. Sorry, Jussie. You can't lie to the cops, man. You can't make shit up. You get in trouble for that. All right. Let's see. What else was in the news? Oh, man. Speaking of felony, I saw this. Oh, man. This damn college admissions scandal. Dude, what is going on, man? Oh, it's Aunt Becky. Aunt Becky's in trouble. Aunt Becky paid a whole bunch of money to this dude to make sure that her kid got into a college. That's so funny, man. I mean, it's illegal, and it's not funny. They used this false freaking nonprofit organization. So you like make a donation to this nonprofit organization, which was like, I don't know what they claim to do. Let me see if it says in here. Anyway, they would make a donation to this nonprofit organization, and then that guy would run it and be like, okay, so he would take your millions of dollars that you gave him, and then he would go pay for other kids to take so your kid has to take an SAT, right, to get into a university. He would pay some smart kid to take an SAT for him, for your kid. Oh man, let's see. Oh man. Okay, so they part of the scam was in order to get some extra time that they would need to get their SATs and stuff done by somebody else. The kids had to go to a psychiatrist to be evaluated and see if they had any learning disabilities such as ADHD or dyslexia or whatever. And so they would go to this psychiatrist's office, and the the guy that's running the scam said told the parents to tell your daughter to be stupid when she's speaking to the psychologist. Act stupid. Don't be smart because she's a smart girl. Tell her to act stupid. The goal is to be slow, not to be bright. Oh my God. They were faking being slow, mentally slow, so that they can manipulate the system even more. Oh man. The Key. Oh, here it is. The Key Worldwide Foundation. That was the charity organization that was a false. I mean, it was just a shelter organization for the scam. They were like supposed to be helping underserved kids. That was the Key Worldwide Foundation was their goal was to help underserved kids to help them get into college, and meanwhile they're just like taking millions of dollars to get these rich kids into this fancy schools. Wow. Oh, dude, there's so many people involved in this. They were like paying coaches from universities. They were paying coaches to accept the kids, right? Like they would bribe the coach, and then um, the coach would write a recommendation or whatever, kind of like say, "I want this kid on my team," um, and so they would say like, "My this kid has always wanted to be on this team, and this is a very special team to their family," and the coach would sign off on it like, "Yes, I want this kid on my team," and the kid like meanwhile doesn't know shit about tennis, but they were paying these coaches and stuff behind the like the under the table, so that these kids could get into college. Wow, they Photoshop applicants' faces onto stock photos of athletes, so, so that they could say that they had a career in that. Oh my god! So they would like bribe coaches for these kids to be on a football team, right? And so they would Photoshop these kids' faces onto stock photos of football kids, even though these kids had never played football. Oh my god! And some of the parents knew it was a scam, and they did it anyway. Oh man! I mean, there's so many people. There's so many people involved in this. Wow. Yeah, that's the ripple effect of that. I mean, they've been chasing that story for a while, right? The cops is what do they call it? Operation Varsity Blues, I think. So yeah, they've been chasing that story for a while, and there's some high profile. I mean, Aunt Becky, yo, from Full House and Fuller House. Have you seen Fuller House? Anybody watch that show on Netflix, Fuller House? I uh I that's like my I would say that's one of my guilty pleasures, I guess. Cuz I watched the show, the Full House the show when I was growing up, and I just like seeing them bring back the same people, you know? I like when shows do that. Cuz I'm like, "Oh my god, that's the same kid that was in the movie in that show or that movie whatever 20 years ago. Look, that's the same kid." Like the same thing. Okay, it's not really the same thing because, well, I'll explain why. Because I was going to say it was the same thing when YouTube put out Cobra Kai, which was the like sequel series to the Karate Kid 1, the very first movie, 1984 or whatever it came out. But that's not really the same thing as Full House, Fuller House, because I didn't just watch that because I wanted to see the grown up actors and them use the same people. I absolutely loved the Karate Kid. I mean, that's like still is my all time favorite. You're the best around. I mean, come on, dude. That song gets me so pumped up every time I hear it. Joe Esposito gets me so pumped up. And just thinking of that montage when he's fighting at the end. I mean, dude, it just doesn't get any better than that movie. And then to see that they put a series together that picked up where that movie left off, because there was Karate Kid 2 and the Karate Kid 3, and it was Daniel and Mr. Miyagi, but they went to Japan and then they came back from Japan. There was he had a different girlfriend every 3 seconds. It was just it was a good storyline for Daniel and Mr. Miyagi, but it didn't pick up where number 1 left off. It was just a new storyline. So 2 does pick up at the end of the tournament. So if when basically right as soon as the tournament is over, Daniel's in the shower, and that's kind of where it picks up. And then he signs some autographs for some kids, and he's kind of starting to get a little bit of a big head. And then Mr. Miyagi has his confrontation with the Cobra Kai leader. What was his name? Oh, how can I not remember this? I Google it. It was John, right? John Kreese, yeah. Yeah, John Kreese. So Mr. Miyagi has his confrontation with John Kreese, uh, the Cobra Kai sensei, and then it just kind of moves on. They kind of you forget about uh, Cobra Kai altogether, um, and they go on to Japan. So I don't know, man. It was fine. I liked all the movies, but just when YouTube was like picked up where the kick left off, he has his crane kick against Johnny Lawrence there. You know, that's where the YouTube series Cobra Kai picks up and follows the life of Johnny Lawrence and what happens to him. You know, all the stuff, kind of how he turns out and how he gets back into Cobra Kai. And I mean, it's just freaking such a great show. Such a great show. Whether you're a fan of the movie or not, but I don't know how you cannot be a fan of the 1984 Karate Kid. If you were not a fan of that, I don't know. We can't be friends. That's all there is to it. We can't be friends. So, anyway, man, the last thing I want to talk about in the news that's kind of been going on is this thing with this. It kind of picks up where I left off with R. Kelly. You know, I was talking about R. Kelly last week, and I was like, this is not new information, right? This isn't new news. And then this freaking leaving. Yeah, I was saying it right. Leaving Neverland. Why was I going to say Netherland? It's not Netherland. Leaving the Netherlands? That's a whole different documentary. Leaving Neverland came out, and I'm not watching this stuff, man, because it's old news, dude. I know there's like, I guess there's some new information or something, never before heard, never before seen, whatever. But it's all old news. I mean, Michael Jackson is not. He's been dead for years. He's not out molesting kids, you know? And so it's like, what is the witch hunt about? I don't understand. He went through his all his accusations. He went through court. He got out. He got out of it. However he got out of it, I don't even know how he got out of it. I mean, some of the stuff seems quite ridiculous stories. And then they're like, well, yeah. He's like, yeah, I slept with kids in my bed, which is weird, man. But anyway, I don't know, dude. It's like we already knew this stuff, and now they're doing these documentaries, and there was like this whole thing that came out about John Wayne. Like John Wayne apparently said some things that were misogynistic. like really, that was John fucking Wayne. I mean, yeah. What do you think he was gonna say? That he was gonna be a millennial thinker? That he was gonna be like, oh my god, Starbucks and green tea, and I'm a vegan. What do you think fucking John Wayne was gonna say back in the 50s or 60s or 40s or whatever it was when they're coming up with this stuff that he said? I mean, it was like 50 fucking years ago. And they're like, you wouldn't believe what he said. How can you not believe what he said? You know, it's like, oh, let's keep marching backwards in time. Let's do a documentary on Hitler. Can you believe what Hitler said when Hitler said, you know, it's like, come on, dude. The people have their things that they believe and they think or whatever, but you cannot go back in time and hold people from a different era that were raised in a different culture with different values and belief systems. You cannot hold those people to some kind of standard of morality or moral compass that you live by today. How is that even possible? How could you even think that you could that's okay to do? I mean, you just got to like So yeah, that guy lived 50 years ago, and 50 years ago, there was a whole different operating system that ran the world. And people thought differently 50 years ago, and they said things and believed things way differently. So who gives a fuck? You know, how are you going to, like, you're going to boycott John Wayne movies now? You're going to go dig up some shit uh, about Jimmy Stewart, and you're going to, now we can't watch It's a Wonderful Life and every Christmas, you know? Come on, man. That's enough with this bullshit, dude. Gotta let it go. You gotta let it go. I mean, come on, dude. If you're gonna hold people accountable, like today, like you look at what happened with Kevin Hart in the what was he gonna host? The Oscars or the Grammys or something? I don't know. He was gonna host something, right? The Oscars, I think. And then they gave him the old bootski because of some stuff he said years ago on Twitter. I mean, if you watch his stand-up specials, it's the same stuff that was in his stand-ups, but I don't know. I guess we can watch those, but we just have to like boycott Twitter and any new work that he does. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me. And he even came out and said, "Look, I made fun of some things that were because of the way I was raised and the environment that I lived in, and things that I thought were funny. But I see now that those things are hurtful, and I apologize for those things. And then those things have been removed from my vocabulary. I don't talk about those things anymore. And if you go watch his specials, he doesn't make those same kind of jokes that he did back then. But no, we got to like hold him accountable for things that he said before, even if he admits. It's like even if he admits that he had a maybe a false or skewed way of thinking, and he corrected himself, and he's like, I'm sorry for saying those things or whatever. Bam, still kick him to the curb, man. It's not good enough, and that's a thing I just don't get. I don't understand. It's a slippery slope, I think, because at this point, like I'm looking back on things that I said and did. Now, thankfully, when I was in high school and college and stuff, that age group, we didn't have like Twitter and that kind of stuff. So the social media was just starting to be developed and kind of played with in certain forms. Like Friendster was just coming out in my later, like mid-20s. So back in high school, it was like, I think I had a pager. It was like even before really a lot of people had cell phones. I was one of the first people in my friend group to have a cell phone. And so there's not like that gotcha, catcha, random, let me do a search and see what this guy's posted. But, I mean, anything, if we're going to go down this path, anything from our past can be used against us now. It's like ridiculous, dude. It's like, man, that's in the past. I can't change it. I don't think like that anymore. I don't believe like that anymore. I've evolved. I've changed. I mean, I'm the whole point of this podcast is to capture my evolution. It's like my pursuit of, it's like a comical, I had to write this today. I was like working on YouTube and kind of like working on really defining what the podcast is. And I wrote this statement that I was like, hey, that's a pretty good statement. It's like the Tamale Mafia podcast is a comical look at the daily pursuit of being whole. That's my life. That's what I'm approaching. Every day I want to be whole. I want to be a better version of me than I was yesterday, right? So I'm evolving. And this podcast is capturing my evolution. It's like, in a year from now, I'll look back. I probably won't look back because the episodes I did last year, I haven't gone back to listen to. And so if I said some shit last year that I'm saying that's contradictory now, don't call me out on that shit. Just understand that I've evolved, okay? I've evolved. And if I've evolved or devolved to you, if you're like, hey, man, that's not a positive evolution. Well, you know what? We all change, man. We go through ups and downs. That's all I can say, dude. But I don't know, man. I think we're moving into an area of slippery slopedness, if you will. But all right, what else is in the news? Anything else in the news? I mean, there's a lot of stuff in the news. There's always stuff in the news, but I think that's the kind of stuff, some of the stuff I really wanted to hit. This guy, man, this Nicholas Sandman, oh man, for the Covington Catholic High School student, this guy, I've never gone back and watched the video. I don't know what was happening in the video. I know one side accused the other of attacking, and the guy said, no, I didn't attack anybody, whatever. And then a lot of people were like mad because the look on his face is like the kind of kid you want to smack around. Whatever. I don't know. But to me, it's hilarious that this kid is suing everybody because all these news stations reported that he had instigated this fight and with an old man, and it turns out the old man instigated the fight with him, and he didn't even fight back, so he basically just got accused of smirking, and the old man was all up in his grill, and now, because he didn't start the fight or the confrontation, and the news site said he did, he's suing everybody's ass off, and it's hilarious. I really hope the kid wins because I think the media jumps to conclusions. You know, everybody wants to be the first to have the headline. Everybody wants to be the first to say that it happened, and they just say things, and like they jump off a ledge without the parachute. You know, it's like they jump off the ledge and they're like, "Oh God, I hope the evidence provides the parachute here." And when it doesn't, they're like, moving on. You know, they don't come back and correct it. They're just like, whatever. That's old news, you know. And so, yeah, dude, I think it's hilarious that this guy's suing everybody. But anyway, where's hang on, where's my? Here we go. All right, look, guys. Seriously, like, comment, share. Go chase down the links. Go find every platform you can, and help spread the word about this podcast because it's only getting better. I promise you, man. It's only getting better. If you go back, which I will not, but if you want to, go back and listen to the very first episode that I ever produced. And see how far we've come. And it's just getting better. And like I said, websites come in. The YouTube channel's coming. There's going to be videos soon. Dude, I sat down with a buddy of mine this past week. This is important, okay? Let's shut this off. Okay, listen to this. If you've missed everything I've said and you've still come this far, I don't know how that happened, but just give me an ear for a minute, okay? This past week, episode 15 came out on Monday. I went off the rails a little bit. I had no show notes. I just kind of pushed record and just was like, I'm just going to ramble on and see what happens. But I ended up talking about something in that conversation with myself, with you guys, the one-way conversation with your brain. I talked about masculinity. Based on that, a good friend of mine texted me, listened to the podcast, texted me and said, hey, man, he had some thoughts. We started talking back and forth, and I was like, okay, this is a phenomenal conversation, and I think we need to have this on a podcast. So we sat down this week. We recorded that podcast. That podcast episode is coming soon. I don't know exactly when I'm going to put it out. It'll be on a Monday episode. I don't know if it'll be this week or next week or when I'm going to put it out or in a month. I don't know. Haven't decided yet, but it's important that you listen to The Curve, okay, episode 15, The Curve, before you listen to that episode. So before we put that out, make sure you have gone back and listened to The Curve, and I'll keep talking about that as we get there, because I want you to kind of have a foundation and a base for why we're talking about masculinity and what context and how it applies to this podcast. So anyway, check that out. Okay, episode 15, The Curve. And yeah, so guys, it's another week done. It's another Thursday in the tank. You heard me? I've said it all. I've said plenty. And there's really not much left to say here, guys. The moral of this story this week is don't dig in the past and hold some shit against somebody. Let it go, man. They can't change it anyway. What are they going to do? Say, let's hop in the time machine, hop in the old DeLorean and head back there and say it differently? Come on, dude. Let it go. All right? Peace out. Tamale Mafia Podcast is now on YouTube. You can also find us on Spotify, iTunes, Podcast Addict, Overcast, SoundCloud, and on our host site, shows.pippa.io/Tamale Mafia. For more information about the Tamale Mafia Podcast, find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Tamale Mafia. Our intro music was brought to you by me. Our transition music is brought to you by bensound.com. For more royalty-free music, check out bensound.com. Our outro music is brought to you by Lim. For more mind-blowing intellectual electronic tracks, go to soundcloud.com/getlim. That's LIMN. And as always, thanks for listening.